Hey, good morning, everybody. So welcome to a new thing that I'm going to try out here. This is, I'm just calling it Real Beans and Realty Scenes, and it's just discussing the latest real estate news. So this is something that I kind of do every morning. So I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I could do this kind of live, give some value back to you guys, go through a process that I do in the morning. The first thing about this that everybody that is here that wants to, hopefully you have a cup of coffee, because that's what this is about. I'm going to be drinking some coffee. We're going to go over some real estate news. This is really laid back, casual. I got an agenda, but it's just, we're going to flow with it. We're not going to do anything too structured or anything like that. That's not the point of this. We just want to hang out. I'm going to give you some information about some recent news articles, kind of talk about the market in general. So just thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. Real casual, real laid back. So today, a couple articles I've got. Number one, it's going to be mortgage rates rise on Upbeat economic data. That's going to be the first article we'll kind of go through. Another one's going to be pending home sales rose 0.3% in June, first increase in 4 months. So, it's still good news. It's still an increase, so that's good. And then we're going to talk about the foreclosure numbers. They aren't like 2008. So that's going to be the three articles I'm going to kind of read through. I read them this morning. I thought, you know what, this is something I'm going to share. And then I'm going to end with a little tip for this week and some advice. And basically the topic of that one will be persistent and follow up. So it's going to be a really casual. So thank you guys for just coming in here and hanging out. We're not going to do too structured. So feel free to ask any questions as we go through this in the comments. Put that in there. If you don't mind, put a capital Q in the comments. So just so I can see that it's a question you might have. If it's a comment, just share it. I'll bring it up on the screen. We can discuss things. If you guys have something you want to share, feel free to do so. But it's really just kind of a time to hang out. So grab a cup of coffee if you can. I did want to do this a little earlier in the day, but it kind of took me a little bit longer to kind of get everything set up. It's been a while since I've been live. So I was kind of going through some technical things, making sure things were still working correctly. So here we are. I wanted to do it earlier, and maybe we'll do this again next week, and we'll make it a more routine if it goes well. So I do want to begin, though, with this. I want to begin with a quote. I love quotes. I think they just help us to kind of take a perspective of somebody else that might have went through something. So I like a good quote. And this one's going to come from Dale Carnegie. It says, inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy. So I think that was just a good quote. I think that can sum up a lot of the stuff that we got going on. And sometimes we can let fear just kind of dominate what we do. And if we let fear win, we don't take action in anything. We're too scared to do it. But if we move with action and we do it in spite of fear, confidence and courage comes. And now, I would say that is in anything we do in life. It be our careers in real estate, knocking on doors, marketing, making those cold calls, whatever it may be. You might be fearful to make those kind of calls at first, but you just know that the more you do it, the more confidence you're going to get, and the more courage you're going to have next time to do it. And that's how you're going to really conquer fears, is kind of facing that. So just don't sit home and just think about it constantly. Be fearful and let that kind of dominate you, but just go out and start getting busy, start making things happen. So let's jump into the first article here. I'm going to share my screen. So give me a second here. And we're going to open up with, let's see. Is this the one? We'll see if I get it right this first time. Yep. Hey, there it is. Perfect. So let me see if I can get this adjusted a little bit better so we can see it. All right, so it might be a little small on your screen, but I can kind of read through this a little bit. But we're going to start with this article first. This is mortgage rates rise on Upbeat economic data. Some information here, and I'll kind of briefly kind of read this article, and then I'll kind of give you some highlights on it and explain it just a little bit. And feel free to share in the comments anything that you kind of pops out to you about this article. But this is on Zillow, Zillow.com/research/mortgage rates. The link to this actual article, if you want to read the whole thing and take your time and kind of digest it a little bit farther, will be in the description of this video. So feel free to check that out. But basically, it's basically just talking about the mortgage rates and the increase in that. So it says mortgage rates increased this week, rising to their highest point in almost a month, thanks to persistently upbeat economic data. So economic data, so that basically just means that, the economy is doing well. Things are going great as far as like the job market, things like that. So inflation is still kind of happening. So the feds are still trying to bring that inflation down and kind of cool the market. So that's kind of why we're still seeing this. So it says a stronger than expected GDP reading and a robust read on personal spending in June were among the key data series that helped press bond yields and the mortgage rates that tend to follow them higher late last week. Rates have remained elevated in the days since, in part because private payrolls data, so payroll, paying employees, again exceeded expectations in July. In sum, all these renewed signals of strong underlying economic growth, which tends to raise interest rates, have offset much of the encouraging downward progress on inflation in recent data. So just to kind of summarize this article for you guys. So we do know the mortgage rates have increased a little bit. This basically just means that it's a little bit more expensive to borrow money for a house. That's it in a nutshell. The increased rate of these rates happen because the economy is doing well and it is still kind of growing. I know in the real estate market, we would almost make the argument and say, well, it's not doing that great. But in the reality of the entire picture of the economy, it's still a pretty strong economy. So yes, the real estate industry has kind of taken a hit, but it is still an overall good market. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what's the link? Let me share that in the comments for you guys, so you guys can click on that. It is in the description, so you guys will feel free to check that out afterwards. But yeah, thank you for asking that. There's the link to that if you guys want to check that out later. But this kind of breaks it all down, right? So the basically what's happened here is the rates went up because lenders basically want more interest when the economy is doing well. They kind of want to make more money back on their investments because the economy is doing so well. So that's a pressure coming into the Fed market to raise the rates just a little bit. So as they make loans, the interest rate's higher, so they make more money. So the future is kind of still uncertain. It's just like taking any kind of gamble when you start playing the real estate interest game. But really what's going to really factor into these interest rates is what's going to happen to, let's see, today's Thursday, August 3rd. Tomorrow's August 4th, and it's Friday. So they're going to be releasing the jobs report. So depending on what happens with that report, if fewer jobs were created than expected, then the rates might go down a bit again. So again, they're watching that employment rate, because that's a big factor. If the employment rate is still really good, then interest rates are going to stay a little higher. People have jobs, so there's a lot of money going into the market, so it causes things to kind of inflate still. So they're watching that job market. If that job market report comes out and it says, hey, there's fewer jobs, you could probably anticipate the following week seeing I'm not going to say a massive drop in the interest rates, because that's not what we're going to see, but you might see it tick down a little bit. So keep that in mind. But that's to be honest, it's just something to kind of keep our eyes on. I mean, interest rates are just all over the place all the time. And I will say this, a lot of the consumers that we talk to on a regular basis, they listen to the media, they talk to the media, and they read those articles and they hear about interest rates and they get scared and they don't want to enter the market. But I think us being informed and being able to relay the correct information and being educated on how to relay what causes interest rates to go up and down helps us to better steer our customers in the direction they need to go. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so Article 2 that I'm going to talk about, and I'll go ahead and share this in the comments for you guys as well, just so you have that. Here you go. Enjoy. All right, let's bring my screen back up here for you. That might be a little bit better. Let me know in the comments if that's a little easier for you guys to see. So this one is from the National Association of Realtors website, nar.realtor. So you guys can check that out. I highly encourage you guys to get on here on their website, especially because they have a lot of good, helpful news articles and reports that they're constantly releasing. And I truly find a lot of value in it. So be sure to check them out. It's really good. All right, so this is the pending home sales rows. You can see it. Don't miss the point. We're not talking about 3% rise. We're talking about a 0.3% rise. But the key point here in the news is that it's the first increase in 4 months. We've actually been seeing a downturn, a massive downturn in the amount of sales. Inventory is low pretty much across the board, across the nation. I know it's low in our state, Kentucky. So it's hitting us finally in Kentucky. I would say it's hit bigger cities a lot faster than it does us. We're typically about a year and a half behind everybody, it seems like. So, but it is up. There was a little bit of an uptick on the home sales front. So that's good. There's more inventory kind of entering the market. This article does a really good job. This, again, what I like about NAR is at the very top, the key highlights. They do this a lot in their articles, and it makes it just really nice. You can kind of read that and get some snapshots and be able to use that and promote that in your channels too. But that's the key highlights right there. Pending home sales augmented in June, up 0.3% from May. Month over month, contract signings increased in the Northeast and Midwest, but decreased in the South and West. NAR forecast the 30-year fixed mortgage rate will hit 6.4% in 2023, followed by 6% in 2024. While median home sales will decrease 12.9% from 22 to 23, 4.38 million. They will climb 15.5% in 2024, so 5.06 million. So kind of a interesting little report here. Some hopeful information for us as realtors out here. So just some things for us to kind of glean from. So here's just some of my commentary on this. So I do like the idea that we are starting to see an increase in sales and inventory. That's good. Obviously, that's not. I don't need to elaborate on that. That's easy. Contract signings for buyers for buying homes increased in the Northeast and Midwest, but decreased in the South and West. So we did see a little bit of decrease and increase there. The National Association of Realtors predicts that the 30-year fixed mortgage rate will be 6.4, and then the 6.0 in 2024. So you can kind of see what they're anticipating here. What the and this is coming from the economic department over there in National Association of Realtors. Dr. Lawrence Yoon heads up that department. He's a great guy, very knowledgeable. Has been doing it for many years. His predictions are really good. I wouldn't say they're 100% accurate just because they are predictions, but I mean, he does a really good job looking at data and coming up with some good projections. So I do like that he is kind of projecting that the interest rate's going to be down closer to 6 in 2024. So that would be a better market for us and hopefully spur the buyers along. And just to add this too is the longer an interest rate stays within a zone, the more comfortable the market gets with that interest rate. So they become more, accepted. It becomes more of an accepted interest rate to be able to go forward and buy and sell. So we got a lot of sellers that are just hesitant to put their homes on the market because, they've got a low interest rate. They're going to have to go back into the market and pay a higher interest rate. So they're nervous about that. But if interest rates stay at a certain rate and fluctuate within that zone, people's confidence in the market kind of begins to increase. So you start seeing an uptick of seller traffic as well as buyer traffic as well. So that's just some good things to keep an eye on. The West, the most expensive region, is expected to see reduced home prices, while the more affordable Midwest may see a small increase. So that's one of these things these articles kind of point out. So just keep that in mind. It depends on what region you're in. The Northeast and Midwest regions had higher pending home sales, but all 4 U.S. regions had fewer transactions compared to the previous year. So again, depending on what market you're in. Home building is increasing to meet the demand, which may help control price growth. So we are starting to see this. We're starting to see a lot of builders entering back into the market and building homes. As a matter of fact, I meant to have this up, but it's going to get late in the morning, so I want to get started. But labor costs and material costs and wood costs, those things are kind of, they're definitely not low, but they're lower than what they have been. So that's good for the building market. Newly constructed home sales are expected to increase by 12.3% in 2023 and 13.9% in 2024. Again, we're heading towards a decent market on the new inventory front. The national median new home price is expected to decrease. It's expected to decrease by about 1.9% in 2023 and then increase by 4.2% in 2024. So there you go. And the final article I'm going to talk about today. I like these people too. This is Keeping Current Matters. Keeping Current Matters. And for those that would like to research this later, here you go. You guys can read this article later. So, yeah, so Keeping Current Matters, they have some really good articles here. They do a great job going in depth. So you're seeing a glimpse into kind of some of the news sites that I get my information from and I research. I'm going to pause before I even get into this whole entire topic about this article and just talk about news in general. I read I watched a video once, and the guy was talking about how we curate news, and his advice is something that's really stuck to me. And with this screen open, you'll get this picture. So if I was to go to just any news site, right? If I was to go to MSNBC, for instance, okay, let's just say I go to MSNBC News, and let's just do more specific. Let's do real estate news. Okay, so I have this article open. I have this open, right? And his advice was this. He said, when you're reading the news, it's best to read across tabs and not up and down. So with this all open in front of you, you'll get what I'm saying here. If I was to only stay on this site and read all the articles inside of this, inside of here, right? I'm getting the opinions of one news outlet. Now, doesn't matter what side of the aisle you agree with. This is not a political conversation whatsoever. This is just using wisdom and logic and reason. If I was to read nothing but this site, I'm getting the opinions, and every news site has opinion pieces. I'm getting the information from what they want to tell me, right? What they want to tell me to sell their ads and do their thing. His advice was not read up and down, but to read across the tabs. So what does that mean? Well, that simply means having multiple sources open across the tabs. So let's say I'm wanting to research what the real estate market's going to be like. I'm not going in here and just reading every single time Zillow, real estate news, you get that information. I'm also not just going to NAR. I'm reading the economists there, and I'm learning from the economists there. But then I'm also going to Keeping Current Matters. And then I will also read MSNBC. I will also read Fox News and CNN. And so when I open up this little real estate news tab, you'll see all the different places that I go to get my information. So what I end up doing is I end up wanting to go through here and say I want to research what is the real estate market doing currently. And I will do a Google search on that, or I'll go to each one of my news sources and I'll read their opinion pieces on all of those of this topic. And that will help me to be able to understand what everybody has seen, to come to a better conclusion for myself using logic and reason, to form an opinion for myself. I would say, yeah, this makes sense. This is what I'm seeing the market do. So I just say this just as a way to kind of put your frame of mind in, have multiple sources to pull from and to come to a conclusion. So enough of that. Here is the final article that I'm going to talk about. This is Foreclosure Numbers Today Aren't Like 2008. This is a little bit of an older article. I think it's a couple weeks old, maybe. I don't know. It's on here somewhere. But I wanted to bring this up. Because there is a lot of fear out there in regards to this state of this market compared to what we've seen in the past. I've been in the real estate industry since 2005. I will say I've seen my fair share, and I was involved in real estate in 2008 when the market did crash. And I would agree with this article. We are not seeing foreclosure rates. We're not seeing distressed homes, short sales, forbearance payments, so just to put that at ease, that's not the kind of market. We can't go back to 2008 and just say this is where we are. We got to take the information we have now and where we are now and form our conclusions off of that. And sure, we can learn things from 2008. We can watch and try to protect ourselves against that. But to be honest, most of the articles that I'm reading, is not based on 2008 data. So here is this article. Foreclosure numbers today aren't like 2008. So if you've been keeping up with the news lately, you've probably come across headlines talking about the increase in foreclosure in today's housing market. This may have left you with some uncertainty, especially if you're considering buying a home. It's important to understand the context of these reports to know the truth about what's happening today. So, according to a recent report from Atom, a property data provider, foreclosure filings are up 2% compared to the previous quarter and 8% since 1 year ago. So we are seeing an uptick. So let's just say, yep, percentage-wise. While media headlines are drawing attention to this increase, reporting on just the number could actually generate worry for fear that prices could crash. The reality is, while increasing, the data shows a foreclosure crisis is not where the market is headed. Let's look at the latest information with context so we can see how this compares to previous years. All right. It isn't the dramatic increase headlines would have you believe. All right. So let me just jump into my commentary here. So we do know that Atom is reporting this 2% compared to the previous quarter and 8% compared to 1 year ago. Okay, we got that as the facts. This article does emphasize, though, that the current situation is not a foreclosure crisis, and it draws attention to the fact that the foreclosures have been at record lows in recent years due to the relief options and rising home values. So most people right now, most people in the market have more value in their home than they paid for it. So that factor alone keeps us from going into a very similar market that we saw in 2008. So we had such a massive amount of inflation that the amount of equity that people have in their homes is very significant. So if you bought your house 3 or 4 years ago, before we are now in what you would maybe consider a crash, the amount of equity you have in your home, if someone could not make their payment, they simply just need to sell it or refinance it or do it. There's many options that they can do because they can leverage their home to bring value back and save themselves from going into a foreclosed situation. Now, obviously, that's not in every single case, but the majority of people still have a whole lot of equity in their house. We've only seen a very small tick down in the inflation prices of homes and maybe just a slight drop in the value of the home, but it's very marginal at best. All right. The rise in foreclosures is expected as the government's moratorium came to an end, but it's not indicative of a housing market in trouble. Okay, so basically, when we went through the pandemic, there was a moratorium that basically just kind of halted all that, the foreclosures and all those type of things. But a very small percentage of people actually had to take advantage of that because the market did so well during that time. So very few people had to have any of that taking place. So therefore, we're not really heading into that. There's a graph that they provided that illustrates the significant difference in foreclosure activity between now and the housing crash 2008. So I'm going to scroll down and let you guys see that. So to me, this says a lot, right? This says a whole lot. So if you look right here, foreclosures in the first 6 months, what happened? Oh, there. Oh, perfect. Okay. So here is foreclosure filings, default notices, scheduled auctions, or bank repossessions by year. So 2008, 1.3 million, 2009, 1.5 million, 2010, 1.7 million. And then the market started getting better, right? We started cleaning cleaning the house, if you will. And we started seeing now this drop down. So 2011, 1.2, blah, 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 all the way down. And then we get into 2020, 165,000 only. Look at where we're at. I mean, this puts it in complete perspective. Just remember, news sites are always trying to get you to click, and they'll do clickbait all day long. So headlines are going to read, are we headed towards a crash like 2008 in the real estate market? Are you under, threat of losing your home due to the foreclosure rate in America, right? These are like headlines that they're trying to sell ads with. But this is a graph that shows you exactly what's going on here. I mean, just put this in perspective there. 186,000 versus 1.3 million in 2008. Not even close. Not even close. Not even close. So there you go. Buyers today are more qualified and less likely to default on their loans, contributing to the lower foreclosure rates compared to the past. They have more money. We just talked about the very first article we talked about the job market and what's going on. And you saw that the job market is still pretty healthy. There's still jobs out there. People are still earning money. That's why the interest rate's still going up. So when we research interest rates and we understand what's going on with the market, see how this actually helps us understand the rest of the story. So when we start looking at these numbers, I can go back to the very first article we read and say, wow, you know what? This is why we're not in the same market as 2008. So now I'm a more educated real estate agent to be able to answer with facts and understanding about the market to the consumer so they better understand how to make a better, wise decision. So this is why it's very important for us as real estate agents to be involved in the news and being current on what is going on. Overall, the data indicates that while foreclosures are increasing, the current housing market situation is far from the crisis levels seen during the housing bubble burst, and it won't lead to a crash in home prices. Again, that's, keeping current matters kind of made a statement of fact right there, obviously, but they're going off of the data. They don't see it, so they feel comfortable making that statement. Okay, awesome. There you go. So that's the three articles of news that I actually read this morning that I thought, you know what? I'm going to go live. I'm going to walk through the process that I do every morning, drinking coffee, reading the news, getting current on what's going on in the real estate market. And I wanted to share that with you guys. But I also want to do this. I want to end with a little bit of tips for real estate agents out there. Just because, and you might be out there and you do these things. Awesome. Well done. This is good. But these are good reminders just to do, because we are going into a changing market. And I joke with the agents in our office and I say, hey, it's time for us to actually start working. And I don't mean they haven't been working. Let's just clarify. I'm not saying you have not been working your little tails off. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that you're going to have to start working in a different way to generate business. And one of the most important things that you can do is to be persistent and follow up with those clients that you already have. That's by far, if you look at any complaint that a consumer might have about a real estate agent, it's that their follow-up just sucks. And I don't want you guys to fall into that trap. But to be able to avoid that trap, it requires you to develop some systems and processes to make sure that you don't fall into that pit where people then start not referring you business because your follow-up has not been so well. It's not been so good. So let's talk about this. And I'm going to go through these pretty quickly because I don't want to labor on this too much, but you can go back and read into these, but I'm just going to burn through these, but just keep these in mind. This is being persistent and following up. So number one, you want to create a follow-up schedule. Develop a structured follow-up plan with specific timelines for each step, ensuring no leads fall through the cracks. Okay. Number two, use a CRM. Customer relationship management system is crucial. Utilize a CRM software to track interactions, set reminders, and automate follow-up emails, calls, and messages. It'll help you stay on point and not miss the important connections that you need to be making with your clients. Number three, personalized follow-ups. Okay, don't just do a drip campaign and just set it and forget it. Those are fine, but they have a purpose and a place. But the best way is to personalize your follow-ups. Tailor each communication to the individual client's needs and preferences, and showing that you value their unique situation. Make sure you understand them and take good notes of that. All right. Number four, respond promptly. Be proactive in responding to inquiries, whether through phone calls, emails, or messages, to demonstrate your commitment and reliability. Here's the thing. We get online leads all of the time. Now, I told you I wasn't going to labor this. I was going to burn through it quickly, but I got to pause. Responding promptly is crucial. People are going online and they're searching for properties, and they're making inquiries all across the channels, right? Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, your website, franchise websites, whatever it may be. They're going on there and they are requesting information about all these properties. Remember, they do not understand how our industry works. We do. So the only way we can capture online leads, and we're talking about responding promptly, and I'm tailoring this more for online leads. The only way you're ever going to convert an online lead, and I don't care where you get those online leads from. I don't care. It's Zillow, Trulia, your company, your brokerage, whatever it may be. Responding promptly is the only way you're going to convert them, because I guarantee you, the moment you get that lead from whatever lead source, they have already submitted 3 or 4 other inquiries about other properties to other agents, and it's the first one that's going to come and call them and be persistent to be able to get that business. So if you're getting leads, you got to follow up and respond promptly. So be proactive in responding to inquiries, whether through the phone calls, emails, messages, whatever it may be. Demonstrate your commitment and reliability. It's the first point. It's the first point of earning that business. Number 5, offer value in every interaction. Every single time, have something of value. Provide relevant and useful information, such as market updates, like we just talked about the news. You saw what I just did. We've been going for 32 minutes. We've been going for 32 minutes, and we went through 3 articles. We learned about the market. We talked about the market. Use that information to then relay that back to your clients, right? Draft up an email and say, hey, I just heard about this. This is what I just did. Share this video with them, whatever you want to do, right? So just be sure to be able to provide some form of value back to them. Property insight, industry trends, whatever it may be. Number 6, use multiple communication channels. Remember, people communicate differently. So you need to figure out exactly how they communicate and then have different systems and processes set up to communicate with that person the way they prefer to be communicated with. So phone calls, emails, texts, social media, maybe in person, whatever the case may be. Number 7, establish clear next steps. After every interaction, we forget this part a lot, but clearly outline the next steps and expectations, ensuring clients know what to expect and how the process will proceed. So, when you end a conversation, make sure that you give them advice. Hey, I will be following back up at this date and time with this information, or I'll be giving you an update every single week, or I update all of my listings and my sellers on Friday. So any activity that happen, I'll let you know by Friday. Right? These are good ways of communication. Number 8, follow up after property showings. Always follow up with potential buyers after property showings to gather feedback, address concerns, and gauge interest. Number 9, send regular newsletters. Keep clients informed and engaged with regular newsletters. Contain relevant content, including new listings, market updates, helpful tips. If you have a good CRM, they have a lot of stuff already built into it that's going to help you to be able to do that. So research your CRM, get really familiar with it, and see what it has in there to help you do that. So, but yeah, definitely try to figure out a newsletter. Number 10, keep detailed records. Again, this goes right back to the CRM, right? It's like that CRM is really, really crucial. But keep detailed records. Maintain accurate records of all interactions that you have with them, communications, previous discussions. It basically will help you provide you context for any kind of future follow-ups and to show your attention to detail, that you understand them and you know them. So family members, birthdays, anniversaries, whatever comes up in conversations, keep good records and record all that, because that's good information to use to help you stay on point, to show value back to them. Number 11, build a relationship. Guys, we can get really pushy and selly sometimes. I think we're all guilty of that because we want to make a sale, but focus on building a genuine relationship with your clients. And that's showing them empathy when they're going through something, actively listening to them, understanding their needs and their goals. These are things that will really build a relationship with them and show them that you actually care. Number 12, stay persistent but respectful. Be persistent in your follow-ups without being pushy or overwhelming. Respect clients' boundaries and preferred communication frequency. Kind of summarizes a lot of things we just said. Number 13, celebrate milestones. Acknowledge and celebrate milestones such as birthdays, anniversaries, transactions, whatever it may be. Again, a good CRM. You got to get in there and use it, but it helps you stay on point. I tell you this, every good realtor out there is using a CRM. So if you want to retain your clients, stay on point, communicate with them. All right. Number 14, re-engage cold leads. Look, regularly reach out to your old, inactive, or dead leads. I'm a big proponent of not deleting any lead out of your CRM. Keep it in there. It doesn't hurt. It's still an email. It's still their names. You still have it. At the very least, if you have a newsletter, you could set them up for that, and you have that database in there. So, basically re-engage them. Go back through those lists. If you're slow right now and you don't have anything going on, that's a great place to start, right? They at least know who you are. So it's not as cold of a call. It's a lot easier because you have a history there. Number 15, ask for referrals. Do not be afraid to ask for referrals. Word of mouth is by far the most powerful way to grow a real estate business. The referral business is the way you grow because you want people out there talking. And I will say, if you follow these tips on staying in communication and working with people, guess what? They're going to refer you because they had such a great experience and they can feel that you truly do care about them. And finally, number 16, follow up even after closing. All right. So just because you close the deal doesn't mean it's done. That person knows people. You want a referral business, right? So don't just get the check and be a secret agent. Get the check and then be more in their face and be asking for referrals and be providing value back to them, and just stay in communication and develop a relationship. So remember, successful follow-up requires a delicate balance of persistence, professionalism, and genuine care for your clients' needs. All right, awesome. So if there's any questions at all, thank you. Not sure who you are, Facebook user, but thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. I hope you guys have enjoyed this format. This was actually a whole lot easier for me to just kind of throw together because it's what I do in the mornings. I just kind of go through the news, make notes, keep tabs on kind of what's going on. So I hope you guys have found this helpful. I probably will start doing this because it was just so simple. And I appreciate you guys kind of hanging out with me. I will shoot to probably do this going forward, probably around 8. I think that'd be good because now I got to go get ready for work. So, so I'm going to end finally with the quote again, summarize that up. If you guys have anything to share, any comments, just post those in the comments there for me. And before I close out, I'll recognize them. But today's quote: inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy. Dale Carnegie. So guys, I do appreciate it. Thank you guys for spending this time in this morning with me. And hopefully you guys got to drink some little bit of coffee. I'm not drinking anything too fancy this morning. I think it's the McCaff Colombian, I think, actually. So it's nothing too bad. It's Arabica beans, though. I don't do Robusta beans. None of that Folgers Maxwell House junk. No, never going to do it. I hate that stuff. But I like Arabica beans. So don't get me started on coffee. That's a whole nother topic. All right. In the meantime, yeah, there you go. Just do it now. Amen. Just do it now. That's all it takes. Excellent. Well, guys, thank you all so much. In the meantime, be fearless, keep pushing forward, and never stop being relentless in your pursuit of excellence. I'm Adam Gullett. Have an amazing day.